What's up, guys? I'm your host, David Ramsey, and I'm back on episode 3 of the span of episodes involving the student outlook on the COVID pandemic and how it has affected us. So I'm here with students Jacob Grimsley and Jackson Lawrence, and we're going to cover the negative aspects of COVID. So here we go. What were the negative aspects of COVID, guys? How did it affect y'all?
Well, I said it was a positive, that it kind of made me realize what I took for granted. I feel like that's also kind of a negative in the way that I realized how much I needed to personally how much I need to be a part of society or something, you know? Because being alone for that long, just with the same games and setting and just view every single day for 6 months. I mean, it was kind of depressing, I guess. I don't know. It was just, it got tough at times just with the boredom, because you can only do so much just on your phone, on a video game. There's only so much to watch on Netflix. It kind of made me realize how much you need stuff to do.
Yeah, I mean,
because you can't just be chilling. The way that I looked at it. Well, but
my view is to be chilling, you have to be doing stuff before you chilling for it to be qualified as chilling. So whenever you're just not doing anything before you're chilling, it's not chilling because there's nothing to chill from.
Yeah.
You're just...
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Such abstract
See, because at the
language
beginning, I was chilling because I had just been through half of junior year.
Exactly.
And I was I deserve this. But, 3 months in, it's okay,
that time
please,
is over.
I need, my brain needs something
needs stimulation. You know, it needs to work for something.
I mean, pretty much everyone who, knows or, knew me during that, I'm very, I think, this situation was, I'm, fit. I was very, prepared mentally because, I consider myself, extroverted just because, I do get, energy from being around people, but I also very much, value alone time, and that was something that I was, ready to kill for, before, and, so I would say, the negative more of what you're talking about for me is probably that I didn't, get anything done, you know, and I would say, that wasn't even my choice. I would say the boredom wasn't even what bothered me. It was just the fact that I couldn't get things done. Things, real efficient things. There was nothing I could really work on at the time,
Yeah, same.
I mean, whether it be physically, mentally, mentally I couldn't do school, physically couldn't go to the gym. So it's spiritually couldn't go to church. So it's what are you left with, just my personality, I can watch TV, and play video games and not really get bored, for a while, a very long time. Really, it was, nearing the end of quarantine and that extended break that I was just starting to be okay, I'm ready. But yeah, I would just say that productivity was the worst thing for me, because that is, and it's not even that I feel I feel I need productivity. It's just that it makes me feel accomplished to be this is what I've done with my day, and it makes me, I enjoy doing work. Not in I don't enjoy doing schoolwork, but I enjoy doing things that doing work that I am passionate about. We film the personal, we have our own personal podcast, and I am passionate and enjoy doing that. So it's not work, and I really enjoy filming the episode and then uploading it, because it's here's the concrete thing.
Something meaningful.
And I've uploaded YouTube videos before with Jackson, and it's okay, yes, it takes hours to edit videos together for that, but it was satisfying.
Yeah, and it feels worth it.
Yeah.
There's just nothing you can do that feels worth it during that time of just abyss.
Yeah, I feel working to express yourself offers a different level of satisfaction than, working that same type of corporate-esque type of work, the worksheets at school and things like that. Things that really provoke thought and build you up that is the type of work that provides satisfaction, and that's definitely been a negative, or was a negative for me. Is I mentioned in the last episode that I had a lot of hobbies, but I found out from a lot of those hobbies that they were just not for me, and it really made me realize that the art of a hobby is for you to actually be passionate about it, for it to like be a hobby and you continue to do it, because there were so many things that I tried that I just could not like get into, like gardening. All my freaking plants died, and it's because I could not get into gardening, and I still can't. And that was definitely a negative, was the fact that, not that I was trying out new hobbies and not liking them, but I was so restless during that time period. I could not, I'm the type of person to where it's really hard for me to relax. Like, for me to enjoy myself, I have to be doing activities. I can't just sit still. And because of that, it drove me crazy, because I was trying to find all these activities, but they weren't satisfying that energy that I put into school.
Yeah.
That nothing could really satisfy that, because school drains you, and when you don't have that to drain you, you have all this energy, and I just could not get rid of it, and that was definitely restless. And I will obviously mention some obvious negatives. Health wise, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's killing people. It's tearing families apart. Big negative. The polarization of the virus is really a big negative for me, because you can't get people on the same page during something that should unite all of us.
Yeah.
I remember when this first happened, I had a conversation with my dad, and I said, I really hope that this ends up being the way that 9/11 was, where Americans stop seeing themselves as Republicans, Democrats, Mexicans, whatever it may be, gay, straight, Christian, Protestant, Catholic. They stop seeing themselves as their differences, but they see themselves as Americans. And I really, honestly, was optimistic that this would like finally be the thing that...
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's sad, and I would say that's a major negative, is, and you can blame it on who you want, like you can, like politically, you can blame it on the president, you can blame it on the left or the right, or like whoever you want to blame it on, because everyone's going to blame the opposite person.
Demons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can blame it on like Satan, like, it doesn't matter. It's like,
as long as like somebody who's not you is responsible.
Yeah, and it's like,
it's fine. Dang,
man, like, when did death become political, and I get it, like, the masks are annoying, like, if especially for people who maybe aren't the healthiest, or people who are asthmatic, or people who have, conditions like that it's like, it's difficult to breathe, I get it, the mask, like, but it's such an interesting thing, because it's kind of like the shopping cart dilemma, the shopping cart problem, if y'all have heard of that. Have y'all heard of that? So for anyone who hasn't, it's like, you have a shopping cart when you go to the grocery store, and no one forces you to put it in the rack, like, you can leave it in your parking spot, you can leave it in the store, like in the middle of the door, but if you do put it away, you make the people's working there, you make their lives easier, the employees' lives easier. And so it's like, no one's making you do it, and most of the time no one's watching. So why do some people do it and why do some people not? And, it's like, wearing a mask has been proven not to really help you personally, but when other people wear a mask, that's what stops the spread, is when, because it's more about what's being put out, as far as I know anyway. It's more about what's being put out rather than blocking what's coming in, because you have to have very high grade, like, masks to be able to do that. And it's so interesting, because, like, how divided are we if we can't even put on a mask? Like,
for the betterment of society,
if we can't bear a slight inconvenience to prevent the possibility of preventing death. And maybe people who are listening to this will feel differently, but I just feel like, when you're faced with an annoyance versus the prospect of saving one person, that's worth it, to me. And that's what I wish we had seen in people, because it shouldn't be political. Like, it doesn't matter what you believe. Like, human life is valuable, and it's worth an inconvenience. It's worth a whole lot more than an inconvenience. And that's just like my opinion. And honestly, like, as someone, I think most people who actually pay attention to the world around them, it's sad. It's been really sad to see our country, even some, like, not just the United States, but also other parts of the world. Some are doing really well. Some are doing just as, the same as us, poorly or good, well, however you want to look at that. But it's just like, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, call me optimistic, but I thought that America was better than that. I thought that the American people as a whole would be better than what they've turned out to be during this time, because you have a situation that's really serious, and with there's so many different factors that play into the fact that half the country doesn't believe in the virus and half the country does, or, those aren't actual numbers, by the way. Mm-hmm. That's not the actual statistic on who does and doesn't. But it's just really sad, because I thought at the beginning that we would be able to come together, and I wasn't expecting everyone to be singing Kumbaya,
yeah.
But I thought that both parties, both sides, left and right, would say, you know what, now is not the time to be playing, pointing fingers. I need to keep my children safe. I expect more out of adults, especially, who have families.
Yeah.
If you have a family, you know how much you care about your children and your wife or your husband. And the fact that you're willing to potentially, maybe if you don't believe 100%, even the potential thought of ruining someone else's family, or, killing a kid or a adult or a grandfather, that's just so, like, sick in my mind that we aren't able to come together during this time. And even, what you were saying about the inconveniences, be able to take that to the level of it being a potential inconvenience. Like, I'm going to go through this inconvenience to potentially save a life, not to guaranteed save a life. But yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's kind of a tangent, but
sort of an equatable situation is like wearing a seatbelt. It's like no one gets in a car and it's like, hey, I'm gonna go get in a wreck, but it happens. And a lot of people think they're too good of a driver to get in a wreck, but it happens. And it takes that one time you don't put on a seatbelt to die. But is wearing a seatbelt, like, comfortable? No. Like, but we're all used to it because we do it. We do it for the good of ourselves. And, everybody straps their children in, put a mask on. Like, protect your children. Like, because you can't expect other people to do the same if you're not doing it. And I mean, even past that, like you said, a lot of people don't believe in it. And it's just, even we've seen manipulation of reports, of statistics, and I think that's another one of the most, like, negative things, is just that people have begun speaking their opinion as fact. And that's, I've realized in my young life that's one of the most dangerous things anyone can do, because if you speak to the masses that are uninformed, and you use your opinion as a fact, and you're speaking to people who don't care to fact check you, like, you're spreading misinformation, and all it takes is a chain reaction. And at a time where all these terrible things have been going on in our country, even past COVID, I just think that the most negative thing, like, the whole thing we've been talking about, the most negative thing is just the state of the world that COVID has brought. So yeah, so looks like we're running low on time, so I'm just going to wrap it up. So thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next episode. Don't forget to check out the latest content from JNN. You can stay up to date by following our social media accounts at Jaguar News Net on Twitter and at Jaguar News Network on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Also remember to use our promo code MCJNN when ordering online at Papa John's. This has been David Ramsey. Thank you.